Hi guys, Matt from the Big River here. We got more fish this week. Got a nice order. Some really cool stuff. I'm looking forward to showing you what we got. First thing out of the box we have little worms. Those are coolie loaches. Great little community fish. Like them in a school. They do best in a big group. You're more likely to see them that way too. Good in just about any community tank. Oh, speaking of which, nice community fish. These are a type of pleco called an L204. These are the not royal, they call them Emperor pleco. There's a couple others. They're a type of little panac. They're a little wood eater. They only get about yay big. They kind of look like a fancy clown pleco. Nice chocolate brown with gold banding. Very cool little pleco. Not horribly expensive. Pandagaras, a little now, mildly big later. Not as aggressive as a Chinese algae eater, maybe just a little more aggressive than a Siamese algae eater. Neon Tetras, got a bunch of these on this order. Got to restock those. Those are part of our Tetra special. Buy 4 more, get 25% off any of our Tetras for subscribing to our channel. Gotta subscribe. Speaking of an odd Tetra, this is a marble hatchet type. The one type of Tetra, another type of Tetra, I should say. Marble hatchets, of course. Buy 4 more, get 25% off. And all your Tetras are schooling fish. That's why we do the special. Encourage you to buy schools. Here's some flame dwarf grammies. Have not had those in a minute, so glad to offer those again. Bright red color is very popular. Ooh, very cool Cory. It's a panda Cory, but it's a special panda Cory. These are the flagtail panda Cories. Hard to find, increasingly expensive. Rare Cories have gone up in price this year, but we have some for you. Here is some rams, Ramirezii, or Microgeophagus ramirezii, but these are the golden version. I guess you could call them albino or golden, whatever you want to, but very pretty either way. So golden rams. Here are some more coolies, but these are the tiny ones. The zipper coolies are the ones that get about half the size. Very cute little guys. That's about a third of this order. We got another little order en route. We'll have a little later for you. For me, it'll be later. For you, it'll be towards the end of the video. All right, here's another box of fun stuff. Let's see what we got. There's all kinds of stuff on the list. I'm like, ooh, I want one of those, one of those. But to start with, we just have Neon Tetras. Just say, just as gives them less credit than they're worth. Neons are a bright, beautiful, amazing community fish. Here's a fish we have not had in a really long time. These are the ornate rainbow goby. It's a type of Stiphodon goby. Stiphodon gobies come in a lot of different color patterns. Those ones they call Stiphodon ornatus, and they have that kind of checkered pattern. Very bright and colorful. Here's a little bag of Tetras. These are silver tip Tetras. Been very popular. I think it's a position bet. They have to be right up front by the neons. Nice little Tetra, a little on the nippy side. Dimorphic too. The males and females are a little different color. Here is an otto. Got a bunch of ottos on this order. These are zebra ottos. Somebody was asking me if I could find them, and sure enough we did. Just had to wait long enough, and they popped back up on the order. These ones we see a lot less often. These are the Peru orange, or Nanotopia species Peru 1 is another bad name for them. We call them orange ottos. Very cute. A little bit on the sensitive side. Green terrors, itty bitty guys. I got one over there. It's about 4 times that size. We might have to split those up. Green terror, despite the name, is not actually that aggressive for a South American cichlid. Got beautiful greenish color with a bright orange fin tips. Next up is another Cory. Been waiting on these. I got a guy who's been bugging me about these for months, and they just haven't come up. These are the Corydoras afterpersonatus, or the polka dot Cory. Very pretty. Light body with a little speckled polka dots. Here is a type of loach. These are Botia striata. A bigger version like the Botias rather than like your coolie loaches. Good on snail patrol, not as aggressive as a yo-yo. Don't get quite as big. So Botia striata or zebra loach. Here's a nice little bag of whiptails. Sometimes you call them the common whiptail or the Colombian whiptail. Either way, they're let's see, Rhinoloricaria ignimani, if you like the scientific name. Either way, they're a real neat little fish. Get about 4 or 5 inches, skinny little biofilm eater. We have not had these guys for a while. These are pygmy driftwood cat. When they say pygmy, they mean they don't get this big. They get about like that. They're actually pretty good at clearing out of tanks, so make sure you don't put them with tiny fish. But neat, deep-bodied little wood cat. That whole group of cats, there's like the cutter cat, there's a whole bunch of them in there. We don't get that many of them because a lot of them get really huge and inappropriate for a tank. They're, I guess, sideways might be related to like the Pangasius shark or the iridescent cat. Either way, cool offering. I love all things benthos or bottom feeder, and those definitely are in that group. They're a nice little catfish. All right, next up, last box for this order, and we'll be halfway there. Oh, a Judagar. Ajuda me, give it to me. Yeah, that's Judagars get about 10 inches ish. They're not related to this, like the needle nose or the alligator gars, but they're actually a tetra, believe it or not. Neat fish, sit at the top, predator. Border loach, or the Burma border loach, or I've heard them called a polka dot loach. They kind of look like a yo-yo loach almost. A little different, not as aggressive as a yo-yo either. Neat little loach, a little thinner bodied, full size, as I remember right. Common otto, told you we had a lot of ottos, and there's a bunch more. That's just your regular great little brown algae eater. Got a couple bettas on this order. These are copper red, red copper. Either way, cool, very neat, Pullicat style or short fin betta. Some more catfish, because you know I love all things benthos. These are the dwarf petricoles. Restock on those. One of my favorite Cynodons. They don't get that big, but they got a cute little pattern. Good in a community tank. Scarlet Batis, those are quintessential nano fish. A little ambush predator on the micro side. Bright red stripes on them. Beautiful little fish. Pea puffers are tiny. These are actually tank raised pea puffers. They came in a little bit more expensive. Got a nice fat round belly on them. Gosh, they're tiny. Hopefully they take to eating well, and we're pretty excited to offer that. All right, next up is another Stiphodon goby. This is the neon blue. A couple different blue Stiphodon gobies. This one is the Atropurpuris, almost like the Atropersinatus cori, but a little different combination of vowels and consonants. 6 Bandendesciotis. This is an African charson or African tetra type. We rarely get this group in. They're big fish. You don't think of them as schooling fish unless you have a really enormous tank. The guy can get like yay big and fat. Looks like a caution cone orange. Beautiful fish. That's what we used to call mine. I had one for a while. Here's a red wolffish. I've not had these guys in a while. We do have a black over there we've had for a while. Red wolffish is a lot less expensive. Don't get quite as big. Either way, they're definitely a predatory fish. Do not put them together, and only put them with fish either that you don't care about or that are bigger than they are. African tiger scat. Got one more of those because they only had one more at my wholesaler, and you know they should be together, and we had a couple, so we got ourselves an African tiger scat. Bumblebee ottos, last of my otto order for the week. Bumblebee ottos are tiny, even smaller than the orange ottos, and very, very cute. One more Judagar, and last but not least, we have some green neon tetras. And that's it for this part of this order. And we're back. We got some really cool stuff on this order. I'm really excited to pull out some fish I have never seen before. These are not it. These are feeder comets. You can look inside the box, and I think you'll see that those are feeder comets, which are goldfish. All right, that's easy one box. Next box will have actual fish in it. That's a good start. That's a Congo tetra, a large one. It's got another order of these guys in. Got some a couple weeks ago. Large Congo tetras. Those are about 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches. They can get 3+ inches. Gorgeous fish. That's all males. Here are some guppies. Got in a really cool batch of guppies this week. Paid a little extra to get some extra color. Those are Dumbos. I got another batch in there too. Here's a tetra we've never had before. This is called a scissor-tailed tetra. They're a Munchausia, so they're related to like the. Are they the Munchausia? Yeah, they're the Munchausia. There's the monk tetra, the red-eyed monk tetra is a relative of theirs. So you can see kind of the teardrop body. Here are some more guppies. Those are females. Mixed colors on some female guppies for you. Nice little batch of those. Here's some cory cats. Sturbe cories. Nice. Most of them look pretty fat. Good group of those guys. Those are your warm water cory. They like water 80 degrees. Even above that, they'll do just fine. Here is another batch of those guppies I promised you. They said they were a blue something something. Look pretty cool, so hopefully you'll enjoy those for your guppy viewing pleasure. And that's one more box down. Looks like I got 3 more here. One more should be some feeders. Got things like blackworms and brine shrimp. Brine shrimp program is actually taking off. People seem to be enjoying that. Well, that's an empty bag. So is that. Apparently we had some extra space to fill. What did they fill it with? That looks like a bag of cardinal tetras. Nice big bag. Little cardinals. Looks like they shipped in just fine. We'll put those with those because there isn't that much left on this order. pretty small order for all the boxes. But we had to get you guys everything we needed, including these feeder guppies, a necessary part of some people's hobby. Got something that needs to eat something live, we got you covered. Here's some more of them. Here's some ghost shrimp, which a lot of people use for the same kind of thing, though they actually make a pretty fun pet. And those black worms, promised you black worms, and there they are. I didn't see the brine shrimp there. Maybe they'll be in the next box. Hope they are, because we are out currently. Yep, there they are. Sea monkeys. Everybody needs a sea monkey. We got $5 a portion on sea monkeys, and we've been stocking in a nice little batch, getting more every week. If you miss your first batch, we'll have them for you on the shipment, which usually comes in on Tuesday, today on Thursday. Here's some Rumminose tetras. Can't see those rummies on them right yet because they're blanched from shipping. That's the way they do that. But they will have that bright red nose. On the Tetra Special, of course, buy 4 more, get 25% off. Gotta subscribe. Who else? We got some silver mollies. Nice. Very silver mollies. Looking good. For the live bear aisle. Mollies, remember, are a bigger fish than most people expect. They can get a full 3 inches, which is not a small fish. Here's another Tetra. These are Buenos Aires Tetras. Again, on the Tetra Special, buy 4 more, get 25% off just for subscribing to the channel. The Buenos Aires are a big Tetra. They're not quite as big as a Congo, but they're fast. And one more Tetra. This is a featherfin Tetra. Kind of looks like the fish we got a couple weeks back that was called a dwarf silver dollar. Looks a lot like that. These are Hemiogrammus, actually, which is the same family as the Rumminose. Don't look at all like them. Look more like a silver dollar. I see that top fin, though, that's kind of pointed up. That's probably where they got the name. Pretty fish. I'm stoked about that. Something new is always fun. And here we got more stuff to unbox this week. Got really, really cool stuff coming out of our freshwater suppliers. Let's get right in and see what comes out of the box. First thing is some Bloody Mary shrimp. Nice, big, fat, beautiful Bloody Marys. Bloody Marys have that color coming from inside rather than outside. Beautiful animal. We got 3 sizes of mono shrimp this week. I'm not sure if those are extra large or large. We'll see, depending on what the other ones come up. I think those are the extra large. These obviously are the little ones because they're pretty tiny. Monos, of course, are your best hair algae eater. Great shrimp for that. Here are some cherry shrimp. They're a little varied in color. That's not uncommon for cherry shrimp. The nice red shrimp versus the Bloody Marys, obviously a different grade. And here's those large Amano. So lots and lots of shrimp. We also got some snails this week. I'm not going to pull it open, but these are those big trapdoor snails. We usually sell those for ponds. So they work fine in the tank. They will populate. They have live babies about 1 every 2 or 3 weeks. So if you don't want baby snails, don't get trapdoor snails unless you got a puffer to eat them. Big snail, big as a golf ball or bigger. So very cool on that. Another box from this particular shipper. Should have some live bears, guppies, some cool stuff. Speaking of which, there are some bright red-tailed guppies. Who are you? Oh, baby monster in the making. This is a Fahaka puffer baby. Get them in this size. They're pretty sensitive, but cute. If you want to pay more, you get a more stable animal. Yellow-tailed guppies, go with those red-tailed guppies. Got a lot of guppies on this order. This isn't a guppy. These are decent-sized Royal Farwellas. Sturgis Aura, I think, or something of the sort. A lot of different types of whiptails in the world. These are Stereo family Farwella. Here are some rams. Dwarf cichlids are fantastic, and these are some of the most fantastic. Bright blue, little electric blue rams. Next up is guppies. These are those blue-tailed ones, and kind of a stripes on the body, very pretty. And more guppies. No, these are endlers. Variety in there on pattern, which isn't uncommon for endlers, but these were called snakeskin endlers. Haven't got any new endlers in a really long time. Fire eel babies, tiny now, huge later, 40 plus inches. Those guys can be that big around. We had one here, and we called him Scorch. And another one named Sparky before I bought the place. They can be huge. Black guppies to go with all the other colors. And more guppies. There we got some nice Dumbo-eared or striped-tailed ones. Who's in here? Oh, those are Norman's Lampi killies. They look like little silver minnows, and I guess they are. Lamp-eyed Norman's lamp-eye are really pretty little top-dwelling little fish. Not tiny for a nanofish, though. These are Serpae tetras, but the long fin variety Serpae tetra. Long fins slow them down a little bit. They're a little easier going on the rest of your fish. And here are some koi swordtails. Koi swordtails have the 3 colors. Love the color. Last in this box, we got some Zebra Danios. Nice little batch of those guys. Zebra Danios, top water, fast moving. Maybe a little bit on the picky side, but fine for most of your community wants. Good choice in many cases. All right, there is a whole batch of fish done. Let's go again. Got some really cool specialty stuff. Some stuff out of Africa came in this last week. Excited to see how those landed. First thing is not out of Africa. These are Asia Minor. These would be fire honey dwarf gourami or Trigogaster tuna, the fire cultivar, bright red. They haven't been sending us sunsets anymore. They've kind of gone to just these fire red ones. Another ram. These are the Black Knight rams. So very nice and black. Very nice batch of rams. Next up is some more cichlids. These are Geophagus wine milleri. They say CF, which means I think they're wine milleri. It's nice looking juvenile fish. See what they color up to. Wine milleris have been a very, very rare commodity last few years. Don't ask me why. These are some wild caught ones. Glow Light Daniels got the last of what my supplier had. Love these fish. They are, in my opinion, some of the prettiest little fish that are unrecognized. You put them in a tank and they just shine. Red biker. These are Polypterus indulcari. Several different types of bikers on the market these days. The 9 species that I know of, though they may have recognized a few more. All can get up a couple feet. These are Celestial Pearl Danios, or CPDs. They also call them Galaxy Rasbora. What they call them Galaxy Rasboras, a Celestial Pearl Danios. Great little nanofish. Spots on them. Look like a little Dolly Varden trout. Here is a double-trunked elephant nose. This is Campholimormarus rhinocophorus, or double-trunked elephant nose. There's a bunch of different mormorids. Not all that many of them make it into our market that often. Don't ship all that great, so when they do get here, we got to make sure they're in good shape. Here's another African fish. Anyway, we've got a couple different types of mormorids on this order. This is not a mormorid. This is a knifefish. The African knifefish doesn't have the top fin. The Asian black knife has a little dorsal fin on them. That's how you can tell them apart. Let's see, some shrimp. These are nice sized bluewood shrimp, or the vampire shrimp. These guys get up to 6 inches, so there's being over 2.5, almost 3 inches on those. Is nice size, but not really huge. I've had them come in literally 5-6 inches before. They don't mess with your fish. They're a filter feeder. Skip right over. We got some bettas came in. We have a couple class here. We had some they called a fancy half moon, a little more expensive than your regular half moons. And you can see that one looks like a mustard gas. Oh my, that is really crazy. So got in some nice bettas. I'll peek at a couple of them as we go, but we won't get bogged down there. Otherwise this video will be 2 hours long. Because mole bettas is mole betta. All right, so here we go again. Off and running. We have more fish. All right, we showed you a baby Fahaka. Here's a not baby Fahaka. This is not a big Fahaka. A big Fahaka can be 18 plus inches. 18 inches is like this, not like that. This guy is about like so nice and fat. Significantly more expensive at that size, but a much more well-started animal. So better risk if you ask me. Black diamond cories. These are tank-raised ones. Got another batch of those in. Got in that batch last week. They flew out real quick. Those ones, the tank-raised ones, came in really tiny, but hopefully strong. Got some more of those half moons. Let's see, pinstripe panac. We got in another batch of these because we sold out of those last week, so why not get more? And we've been waiting on them. Here's another mormarid. This is your elephant nose. You might be more familiar with these guys. Get big. And this is a pretty good sized one. They can be over a foot and be a little bit challenging as far as getting them to eat prepared food. I go after them with bloodworms or live blackworms if I have another half one for you. Mormons actually are a schooling fish. They like to be in big groups, but if they're in too small an area, meaning less than about 1,200 gallons, they tend to nick each other up. So you're going to have a lot of space if you're going to do them in a group. All right, micro animal. This is a Thai micro crab. Itty bitty crabs. They're actually pretty fun. I put them in with the shrimp. They burrow down into the shrimp substrate. I like them. Neat little crab. We don't get them that often, but anytime I find them, I can get them. Somebody was asking about them last week, and they just popped up on my list. Here's an African butterfly fish. Got a restock on those. Again, an African fish that hasn't been available all the time this year. I think that's something to do with tariffs, honestly. But African butterflies are in the house right now. Here's another one of those pinstripe panax, or call those emperor plecos, another name for them. They got several different names. Cool in any book. This is a South American true leaf fish, or American South American leaf fish, or we call them the true leaf fish, as opposed to the African one that looks quite a bit different. But that guy's got that jaw that goes, looks like Alien from the movie Alien. Silver arowana, another baby monster. This guy's going to be 3-4 feet full size. Remember that when you buy them. Another half moon there. Another panodon or African butterfly fish. Got a batch of them. When we can get them, we get them. Tiny fish, the other side of the whole spectrum. These are Chilirasporas. Chilirasporas are your quintessential nanofish. Those in the Celestial Pearl-Adanas are definitely our best seller. Gold Dust Biker, this is Polypterus bittercoffery. We got in a big one a couple weeks ago, sold it out right away. Now we got in a little one, quite a bit less expensive. Well, a little less expensive anyway. Another one of those pinstripe panax, and that rounds out that box. We're about halfway through that order, about 2/3 of the way through this week's list. Hang in there, we'll be to the end. Saw some of the coolest stuff, but there's still some cool stuff left to go. Always a good time. All right. Let's see, that is 6 boxes down. 2 to go. Who's in the box? All right, that's a cool fish. This is an Enolopus species Calisa. It's a type of African cichlid. These guys kind of remind me of a goatfish from, saltwater goatfish, but when they get bigger, they got some really cool color to them. Long, they kind of hang out in the sand. They are not a rock dweller. I wouldn't put them in your room with voodoo in that tank, but if you're looking for a specialty Tanganyikan, that is a very cool fish. Speaking of African, but not a Tanganyikan, this is a Malawi eye biter, or Dimidacromis compressiceps. Got in some big ones this week. That was one of them. Here are some cuckoo catfish. Kind of look like the Lucipennis we get in regular, or the Petricoles, but they get a little bigger. I also got a Pardalis over there, which get even bigger than these goes. Cuckoo catfish is known for stealing the eggs of the Mabunas and replacing them with their own. So then the mouth-brooding Mabunas brood the catfish. There's a great nature video about that out there somewhere. Here is some nice big pearl grammies. Beautiful colors on those. It's gorgeous leery eye grammy, those beautiful reds in those faces. Here's another one of those Dimidacromis compressiceps, or Malawi eye biter. Big guy. Got some discus in this week. I think we got 4 total. Here is should be a melon. This is a yellow melon, actually. Got yellows. I think I got a red. I have to remember what else I got. There's a red melon. And here is, that's a checkerboard, yellow checkerboard. Haven't had those in a little while. I have room in the tank, so that's what we picked up. And last in this box is one more yellow melon. So lots of discus on this week's order. All right, last box, there we go. What do we got? More fish. First thing in here is something I've never had before. This is called a red scissor-tail rasbora. Kind of look like a little silver fish. They say they get up to 6 inches. They got little red tips on their tail. Pretty fish. Kind of look like a sardine almost. Very, very cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what they look like grown out. A little more expensive than you might guess for a Rasbora, but very cool. Another type of Rasbora, these are narrow wedge Rasbora. Are they though? Let's look like. Are they narrow wedge? Yeah, I think they're just colored down. Narrow wedge is a type of Harlequin, but with a narrow wedge on them. Here's the regular Harlequin right there. So a nice batch of Rasboras. Not a lot of Tetras on this week's order. I don't know if we had a single one. There's that last Malawi eye biter we promised you. And more bettas, because more bettas is more betta. We got a dozen bettas this week. Just not a huge restock for bettas, but a nice group. Yeah, here's some Tetras. These are neon Tetras, large neon Tetras. On our Tetra special, you buy 4 more, you get 25% off for subscribing to our channel. We always appreciate the support, and I'm sure you'd appreciate the discount. Here is another puffer. This is the Leopard Congo, or Congo Leopard Puffer. Tetrodon shoutedeni. That's the community puffer, they call those. In certain circumstances, they'll tolerate other fish in their tank. They only get about 3 inches in the body. Another batch of neon Tetras there, again for the Tetra special, because we get through lots of those. Siamese algae eaters, got a whole batch of those guys. Sold out last week, didn't realize we were out. Gotta have them, they're good for the string algae in your planted tank. Bigger tank, 4 foot, works well for them. Another type of shrimp, these are the Singapore bamboo or flower shrimp, or however you want to call them. They're cool either way. They get about 3-ish inches, 2.5, 3 inches full size. They're filter feeder. Here is the last bag on this week's order is Apistogramma cockatoides super red, or super red apisto. And that's it, guys. Thanks for hanging in there.